Greetings all! Today we'll be examining the rare Steel Flying type Pokemon Skarmory, the Armor Bird Pokemon. Heavily armored and a fierce beast to reckon with in close quarters, Skarmory are vicious birds that can more than make life hectic for those unable to penetrate their sturdy forms.
Nearly the entire body of Skarmory is covered in silver streamlined metal armor shaped around their body and joints, save for their grey three-clawed feet, two in the front and one in the back for stability, as well as their curved and semi-hooked stubby tail, with three bands of darker grey metal covering their lower neck. Their teeth-filled beaks, head, and head crest are also covered in metal, with deep blue eyes and yellow sclera, as are their sharp wing feathers, though they have a deep crimson color to them beneath the metal in almost all cases, minus the frontmost pair of wing feathers. At birth, Skarmory are like most birds and are fairly unarmored and vulnerable to damage, but this phase only lasts for a few weeks. Skarmory intentionally build the nest among brambles because their feathers naturally respond to physical damage by building up a thick layer of metal on the outside. After a few weeks of being constantly scratched by their own home, Skarmory chicks possess strong enough armor on their bodies that they can leave the nest and survive on their own. The thick metallic armor that covers the bodies and feathers of Skarmory, despite its imposing nature, is actually quite light and pairs well with the fact that their feathers alone are hollow. In short, their durable armor does nothing to slow down them or hamper their flight capabilities. In fact, Skarmory are able to fly between 185 to 190 miles per hour at full strength, easily outmaneuvering most other birds regardless of their size or power. Although Skarmory have access to many of the same physical and special attacks known by other bird Pokemon, such as Peck and Air Slash, they are far more dangerous in battle because of their tremendous defenses and access to defensive moves that bird Pokemon normally do not have, particularly a spikes technique that Skarmory can still employ even when in mid-flight, though they can still find competition in places like the Galar region where they viciously fight off Corviknight for territory.
What truly makes Skarmory a threat, however, are their wings. As noted before, the feathers of Skarmory are covered with the same metal that covers their body, but with their feathers, however, this metal is not only form-fitting, but naturally comes to a sharp edge at the sides and tip of each feather.
In practice, this allows Skarmory to access a wide variety of cutting attacks in comparison to other bird Pokemon, including the Slash and Night Slash attacks, and it moreover makes Skarmory one of the few species able to learn the devastating Steel Wing attack naturally, as well as one of the few able to make the most of it in a fight. Even with metal protecting them though, Skarmory still sustain damage to their armored hide much as other steel types do, and eventually accumulate more than a few dings and scratches in the armor with time. Instead of repairing damage to their wings, however, Skarmory merely shed their damaged feathers once a year, after which they grow completely new ones within a few days. It is thought that ancient warriors once used the discarded feathers of Skarmory as makeshift swords when little material was available to make decent blades, making them a popular element in heraldic designs. This actually makes sense, as although they might be dinged up, discarded Skarmory feathers can still maintain a sharp blade for at least a few years before becoming too dull to have much practical use. Even in modern times, they are often processed to make knives with a sharpness recognized and adored by the world's finest chefs. Overall, this only serves to demonstrate just how dangerous these metallic beasts can truly be when confined to close quarters, but a word of caution is given to Skarmory trainers to keep them out of the rain. While their armored feathers and body might be imposing both offensively and defensively, they also rust easily and can leave these beasts unable to fly until they shed their feathers if the corrosion becomes too widespread. As such, wild Skarmory will generally stay in their nests if it is raining outside, and this should likewise be taken into consideration outdoors or in a battle if the weather suddenly turns wet.
As far as their combat abilities go, Skarmory are able to use a special oil in their eyes to see through even the grittiest conditions, and can use their armor to deflect at least some damage to them if they're hit by an attack that would otherwise knock them out right away, possessing Keen Eye and Sturdy as base abilities, while those with metal that is not properly developed and tempered and thus less resistant to cracking can also have weak armor as a hidden ability.
In terms of stats, Skarmory, menacing as they are, don't actually have a lot of power to them, and mainly rely on their armored forms to absorb physical strikes while they slowly chip away at opponents. As such, most of their base stats are below average for a fully evolved Steel and Flying type Pokemon, but they can still move decently fast, with an above average base speed stat for a fully evolved Steel type Pokemon, and their armor makes them incredibly hard to penetrate, with an above average base defense stat for a fully evolved Pokemon of both their types, and further possessing the highest base defense stat out of all flying type Pokemon, rendering them physical juggernauts that can take most direct hits in the air with little to no repercussions. I don't exactly have a great love for a lot of bird Pokemon, but when it comes to the ones that I loathe the most, Skarmory are near the top of that list, and for good reasons. While they might not be able to hit back all that hard against anything they get into a serious scuffle with, they have incredible tenacity and will viciously and repeatedly assault anything that dares to get in their way in the air, or even on the ground. It doesn't help that they tend to be rather aggressive and make it their duty to strike as hard as they can to take down prey and opponents alike, getting access to powerful moves like Brave Bird later in life to aid them in this. In addition, they tend to be very haughty and overly confident, which can get them into trouble, but also makes them come off as more intimidating even if someone does have a type advantage over them. Furthermore, training them is about as fun as trying to train a cassowary, and about as dangerous to someone who has never been trained for such a job. All in all, these monster birds and their weird sharp teeth are not my cup of tea, and I will never go near one ever again. But if you need a powerful defensive wall that can take physical hits like a champ, this is definitely the bird for you.
Heavily armored and built like a flying tank, Skarmory are dangerous avian beasts that can make themselves a nightmare to deal with in the wild without strong protection of your own to take the brunt of their vicious assaults. You may have to work with them for a long time to get them used to working with you, but give them the time needed and these bladed birds can prove to be reliable fighters to work with when battling in close quarters.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you wear more than just padded gloves when dealing with them. A smaller bird might be less of a worry with minor protection, but if you're not decked out in sturdy fabric or metal yourself from head to toe, you may find their claws to be the least of your worries when one of their wings gives you a close shave, or perhaps even too close of a shave for your physical well-being.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Untitled, and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.